It's Friday, December 6th, and this is now on HNN.
The families deserve some answers. The families deserve some of these answers. They're all here now. They can take a few minutes.
This is early.
2 days after a Navy sailor used his service weapons to fatally shoot 2 civilians at the Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, wounded a third, and then turned a gun on himself, military officials Friday refused to release basic details on the investigation or elaborate on why the service member was armed at a time when he was facing a disciplinary hearing.
All right, thanks for joining us for This Is Now. I'm Jonathan Soppy, alongside Lacey and Lynn here. Of course, we're going to have the very latest on the Florida shooting that's developing as well, but a very, very busy morning dealing with the Pearl Harbor shooting here. We had a press conference, we were expecting some answers. Didn't really unfold that way.
We really didn't get any answers. What we felt about that press conference was it was a photo op. It was a bunch of people who were able to offer thoughts and prayers. And while that is nice, it doesn't give answers for the families. It's been 2 days now, and these families, they are mourning the loss of 2 people, 2 loved ones, and one more person fighting really to get back on his feet and in a lot of pain, been shot while going to work. It's absurd that we couldn't get any answers at this press conference.
Set us up. What were we expecting?
We were expecting to hear from Rear Admiral Chadwick, and you will hear Robert Chadwick. He's the Rear Admiral there at Pearl Harbor. But we were hoping to get answers from him mostly. The FBI was there as well. They're assisting, and as well as Honolulu Police, NCIS, the investigative body there of the Navy. We were hoping to get a lot more answers than what we got, that's for sure.
And what came out was the standard, our thoughts and prayers go out, we're
Absolutely.
still investigating.
Absolutely.
And then after they pretty much walked off the press conference, which we saw there in that open, and then the reporters started asking the reps there for those different representatives or officials, saying, we need answers, and then one of them did end up speaking, not an official, but a PIO, a public information officer, correct?
Right, Chuck Anthony, who was very helpful to the media. I think that he felt there was some obligation to us to give us something, right, or to give us some information, but the press conference was over. He kept reiterating that for us. The press conference is over. The information we did get was very basic, in addition to thoughts and prayers, just a little bit of an update. We also got the shooter's name, Gabriel Romero, which we already had
A middle initial,
yesterday.
right?
Yes, Antonio is his middle initial. But we got an official confirmation there of the name, but really very little information that would help the families.
Let's listen to this again. This is after the press conference. We're going to go back in time in just a moment, but after the press conference, here's what Chuck Anthony said, some of those few details that he did give us when he was being hammered by reporters.
Where he's originally from?
Well, his home of record, his state of record is in the release.
Can you provide a picture of this sailor?
That picture is probably going to have to come from Great Lakes, where they do the initial training of sailors.
Can you provide disciplinary records of this sailor?
I'm sure we'll be able to do that eventually. We cannot do that today.
What's the timeline on that? How long do we need to wait? I mean, people don't want to wait months. They want answers.
I understand that, but I can't give you a timeline on when that particular, report would be released. But we know it's not going to be able to be released.
How many other suicides have there been in the past year or 2 on the USS Columbia or among their crew?
As far as we know, none. That particular story that was out there. Look, folks, there's also a lot of rumors that are going on too.
That's what we want to
That's what we want to clear up.
I understand that. But pretty much every fact that we're able to release at this time has been released.
All right, that was Chuck Anthony talking there. He walks off as well. This is all unfolding around 10 a.m. this morning, just a short time ago. You can see his frustration there in that soundbite. And again, I heard you over and over again saying the families want answers, the community wants answers.
Absolutely. And Chuck Anthony, to his credit, stuck around when he knew he was going to get peppered by the media. He knew it, and he took it, and you can see the frustration, but he also knew our frustration as well. So to his credit, he stuck around and gave us some information, but we need answers from the Rear Admiral. We need to know why this sailor, Gabriel Romero, who we know and we reported yesterday, he had disciplinary problems. He had gone to anger management classes earlier this year. He had all kinds of issues. He was showing up late for work. He was up for what's called a captain's mass, which is one step lower than a court-martial. So these are criminal proceedings. While they are minor, more like misdemeanor, if you can compare it to the civilian world, they are still criminal proceedings. So why was he given an M9 and an M4 and standing watch and guarding this nuclear submarine if he had these problems? We wanted to ask the Admiral that. We tried asking the Admiral that, and we got no answers.
Yeah, and I got that clip right here. Let's play it out.
Can you tell us about Mr. Romero's difficulties and disciplinary issues and why he's allowed to be on an armed watch when he is undergoing these difficult issues, as well as possible anger management classes earlier this year?
Again, that's all part of the investigation that's going on right now. Again, I don't have direct knowledge to the aspects of that, but every aspect of that is being looked at, as well as about the response and everything else. I mean, this is something that we're going to be looking at from all angles, and that's certainly one of the things we're going to be looking at.
Is it common for sailors or soldiers who are having difficulty and disciplinary problems to be on a sentry watch, possibly to get them out of the regular duties of other sailors?
Again, we are always committed to providing the support to our sailors when they're having problems, and again, all that's going to be coming out as part of the investigation in terms of what was involved here.
Again, just part of the investigation, the standard sort of press conference answers no reporter wants to hear.
Lynn, there was also another recent shooting on the mainland. Can you describe the differences in how authorities are responding there compared to Hawaii?
Yeah, in Pensacola, Florida, just a horribly sad situation. That happened this morning, another, mass shooting. And here's the difference. They already did 2 press conferences out there in Pensacola within 6 hours of this shooting happening. And we specifically told the Navy yesterday and today, we need to know about the shooter. Was he allowed to stand watch, have a post where he's armed with 2 weapons when he was having these disciplinary problems? And is this standard procedure and protocol that should be changed? So the difference with Pensacola is really they came forward and they were giving, while they weren't giving a lot of new information, they were giving information. They were providing information. They were answering questions and not walking away after just 3 questions. And they were trying to do their best to let the community know they're handling it, they're working on it, and they're ensuring that some of these safety measures are in place. And another thing about that case in Pensacola, the FBI is the lead on that case. The FBI is the one running the investigation. Here, it's the military, and it seems very secretive and very hush-hush because the military is running it. I would personally prefer to see the FBI handle it, or an outside agency that can deal with these. These are civilian casualties on a military base. And I know that, that's probably not going to change hands, but I think that would be the difference. If it was the FBI handling it, I do think we'd get more information.
And one other difference people are pointing out on social media especially is that the president and both vice president have both tweeted about the incidents today, and there has been no response regarding the Pearl Harbor incident.
I can't speak as to why, but certainly we are noticing that here in Hawaii. People in Pearl Harbor, people we know who work at the shipyard have noticed that the president, the White House tweeted, about Pensacola. The vice president tweeted about Pensacola, and we have not really gotten that type of response. Others have said on social media, maybe it's because that's a domestic terrorist suspect, possibly that's what they're looking at. Whereas here, this appears to be a workplace incident. I can't speak for the president or the vice president as to why, but it's certainly been noticed by many people.
All right, Lynn, I know you're going to keep asking the tough questions, and we'll have more even at 5. You have a lot more sources to work today. So thanks for joining us for This Is Now. Lacey, we got some more information about the victims in this shooting,
Yes,
right?
of course, so many unanswered questions as families mourn the 2 people killed. Our Chelsea Davis has more on this.
I spoke to the families of both men who died, and they're devastated. Loved ones of Roldan Augustin were too distraught to speak publicly, but the sister of Vincent Capoy Jr. wanted to share this heartfelt message.
Our lives changed forever. The loss of a son, uncle, friend, husband, and brother, my brother, Vincent. He will always be that easygoing, fun-loving, let's do this man that will remain in our hearts.
Holding back tears, Fiona Capoy speaks about her younger brother, 30-year-old Vincent Capoy Jr. from Waianae. He was a 2007 graduate of Kamehameha Schools and had just gotten married. He was one of the 2 civilian workers fatally shot at Drydock 2 Wednesday afternoon. The third victim, a 36-year-old man, was reportedly shot in the leg. He has since been upgraded to stable condition.
You never go thinking when you go to the shipyard that you might not come home. So this is a terrible event, and my condolences go out to the victims' families.
Service members are still coming to grips with the shooting. The gunman, 22-year-old Gabriel Romero, who shot himself, was an active duty sailor assigned to guard the USS Columbia, a submarine undergoing repairs. He used his service weapons on the victims. Emergency counseling is now being offered.
I think the anxiety related to safe places being unsafe is something that's been experienced by a lot of people recently, and that's something that people come to us with a concern about.
There are so many unanswered questions. We all have to be honest. It changes nothing because we can't bring him back.
Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
All right, Chelsea, thank you for that report. Of course, we're going to keep following the developments there, but we also want to get to the other breaking news of the morning in Florida.
Yes, the Pentagon confirms a shooter who opened fire at a large naval base in Pensacola, Florida this morning was a student from Saudi Arabia. 3 people plus a shooter were killed. 7 others were wounded. Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
The FBI is now leading the investigation into the mass shooting at Naval Air Station Pensacola, where a Saudi aviation student opened fire.
When you have a foreign national involved, particularly in that part of the world, the investigation is obviously going to be different than if it were just somebody from a local community.
CBS News confirmed the name of the shooter as Mohammed Saeed al-Shamrani. Authorities say he was part of a group of international students training at the base.
It's a horrible thing that took place.
President Trump says the Saudi king called to express condolences.
The king said that the Saudi people are greatly angered by the barbaric actions of the shooter, and that this person in no way, shape, or form represents the feelings of the Saudi people who love the American people so much.
Investigators say al-Shamrani killed 3 people and wounded several others, including 2 sheriff's deputies, before one of the deputies took him out.
Walking through the crime scene was like being on the set of a movie.
The injured were taken to local hospitals.
Certainly this is a tragic day for the city of Pensacola. NAS is incredibly an important part of our community. For 200 years, this has been a part of the city of Pensacola.
There's no word yet on a motive, whether the gunman had a gripe or if the shooting was terror-related. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
All right, even more developing news to get to you this morning. There's news of an aircraft that's gone down involving the military.
Yes, a National Guard helicopter crash has taken the lives of 3 soldiers in Minnesota. The Black Hawk went down in a remote area of the state, and it took authorities hours to find the wreckage. NBC's Molly Hunter has more from the scene of the accident.
In Minnesota, authorities are investigating a deadly crash involving a Black Hawk helicopter. The accident killed all 3 National Guardsmen on board the aircraft. The National Guard says it lost contact with the chopper shortly after it took off from a base near St. Cloud Regional Airport on a maintenance test flight. Rescue teams used the Black Hawk crew members' own cell phones to locate the helicopter.
Just advising, we pinged the second phone. Again, we had 3 occupants on this helicopter.
The wreckage was discovered southwest of St. Cloud between the towns of Kimball and Cold Spring. Video shows the mangled and scorched wreckage just inside a line of trees. The response team beginning their work at dusk, but the investigation continuing well into the night. Officials say the investigation will be ongoing for days, but the priority first and foremost, the families of the deceased.
The coming days will be dark and difficult. The state of Minnesota stands ready to assist the families of our fallen heroes.
Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz, who served in the National Guard himself for 24 years, called the fallen soldiers his brothers in arms. Molly Hunter, NBC News, Kimball, Minnesota.
All right, with all the news regarding the military, we have even more. The Pentagon releasing new numbers regarding troops.
Yep, the Pentagon is considering sending thousands more troops to the Middle East as part of an effort to beef up air defense capabilities in the face of Iranian moves, and that includes its recent transfer or short-range missiles into Iraq, and that's according to multiple defense officials. The officials said the most realistic options include potentially sending 4,000 to 7,000 additional U.S. troops to the region. The Iranian missiles could pose a threat to U.S. forces in Iraq and potentially be moved to threaten Saudi Arabia as well. That's according to officials. The need for additional air defense could be met by combinations of ground, air, and sea-based U.S. forces. The Pentagon officials said discussions underway now are focusing first on what additional military capabilities are needed to deter Iran and how long those assets and troops might be required.
All right, here in the Digital Center, we have the resources to peek into different parts of the world. We're actually, Lacey and I are taking a live look right now at Washington. We're showing that to you for our Facebook viewers, for our iTunes and podcast listeners. You should know the time there in D.C. is now 4:55, and it's looking pretty dark there, but that's not to say there hasn't been many developments regarding the impeachment.
Yes, Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee are working through the weekend preparing for an upcoming impeachment hearing and eventually voting on articles of impeachment. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
The Trump administration faces a 5 o'clock deadline to decide whether White House lawyers will participate in next week's impeachment hearing.
I expect us to respond by the end of the day, yes.
Monday morning, the House Judiciary Committee will focus on the findings of the Intelligence Committee's 2-month-long investigation.
Abuse of power that they laid out are likely what the Judiciary Committee will use to draw up articles of impeachment.
Articles of impeachment could be drafted as soon as next week and could include charges of abuse of office, bribery, and obstruction.
House Democrats have set the stage for a possible floor vote on impeachment before Christmas. Republicans say the end result has already been decided.
Facts, evidence, proof. It doesn't matter to Nancy Pelosi. It's all about politics for her.
The White House is ramping up preparations for a possible Senate trial early next year, a time when 5 senators running for president plan to be campaigning in Iowa and New Hampshire.
This couldn't happen at a worse time for them.
Professor Todd Belt of George Washington University says a trial could give the candidates who don't serve in the Senate more face time with voters and could also help President Trump's re-election campaign.
It absolutely bolsters his base. One of the things that causes people to really come out and vote is when they see a sense of loss.
Senate leaders have blocked off the month of January for a potential trial just ahead of the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
All right, we're going to take another live look outside. Here we're looking here right in town. We're taking a peek at Diamond Head. Here locally, the time is 11:57. Got a few clouds in the sky, bluer than the days previous.
And
you know,
a little chillier.
Yeah, a little chillier. I know. I wore my long sleeves today. No, we got Billy on deck in for Guy. He's going to give us an update on some big weekend events and how the weather could impact those.
We are watching the surf because we've got a surf contest that's coming up, and they were thinking Sunday there's going to be a little bit of a swell, but it looks more like Monday that we'll actually get some good surf, and it's coming from a good direction too. It's coming from the northwest, so keep your fingers crossed. And the other thing, of course, is the Honolulu Marathon. Start time 5 a.m. Sunday. Mild start, good running weather, a few Mauka showers, once again light winds, and there might be some personal bests as you go about the Honolulu Marathon.
Thank you, Billy, there. Thanks for that update. And a lot of runners going to hit the streets.
I know, a lot of closures.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So try to, but I think it ends pretty early, so you want to sleep in.
Yeah,
on
Sunday's
Sunday.
a good day for it.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for Christmas?
Oh my gosh, I am not done with my Christmas shopping. Some of my friends have it wrapped, like ready to deliver.
Trees up,
I
all
know.
that. Is your tree up?
Not yet.
Well, First Lady's getting into it a little bit more every day. She put her decorations up earlier, now she did something else today.
Yes, she visited the Children's National Hospital.
Let's listen to what she had to say.
This is the book, I will read it. Oliver, the Ornament Meets Belle. Do you know the book? Did you read it before? No?
Oh, pretty cute.
Yeah, I never read that book before either. Well, the First Lady toured the surgical care unit and the short stay unit to visit the patients, their families, and the nursing staff. Mrs. Trump also read Oliver the Ornament Meets Belle, so cute, which is a sequel to the book she read last year, Oliver the Ornament. I gotta read these.
I know, that's get you in the Christmas spirit, that's for sure, the holiday spirit. All right, good to see you're out there doing that good work. We were talking shopping.
Oh my gosh.
And what's Target up to? I think
Okay.
people want to know about this, right? You gotta
Yes.
listen up, guys.
For one day only, this Sunday, December 8th, if you buy a gift card, you'll get 10% off. So a $100 card will only cost you $90.
Whoa,
Gift cards are the most popular holiday gift. In fact, the National Retail Federation says they're topping Christmas list for the 13th year in a row.
That many years.
Yes,
Wow.
only gift cards under $300 get the deal, but you'll be able to use the card the next day. Deals!
Free money. That's like
I
such
love
a good
it.
deal. I love that. I'm
Oh, man.
definitely gonna hit that up.
Target, I hit up Target a lot.
I've
Even
heard that.
outside of Black Friday or Cyber Monday. I
I've
love me
heard
some
that.
Target.
There's always Lacey spottings at Target.
Yes,
Target.
yes.
Her favorite spot. Also a big weekend for sports.
Oh, yes, it was. The Rainbow Warriors, they are in Idaho this morning to face Boise State. Our Kainoa Carlson is there and filed this report this morning.
You know what? How can they not be feeling good? They're coming into Saturday's game with a 4-game winning streak. They've already tallied 9 wins so far this season. They're playing their best football at the right time. You know, we're here on the campus of Boise State. We're actually right outside Albertson Stadium where the game's taking place this Saturday. We were trying to get in there to get a shot of the blue field so that we could send it back home, but they had to kick us off because the Broncos right now, as we speak, holding a final walkthrough ahead of Saturday's title game. The coach, the players, and the staff, they're all out there right now. Of course, there's a press conference that's going to come up later on this afternoon. We're going to get a chance to hear from Boise State head coach Brian Harsin and head coach Nick Rolovich. But earlier this week, we talked to coaches and players about what this game means and how big of a game this is for the UH program.
Good focus, good focus. You know, I think they understand what's at stake. They understand they've gotten to a point where you know, they wanted to be at the end of the season. So I think it didn't take a lot to get them going. I thought they were fired up today.
Yeah, being around the team this week and the coaches, they're fired up, they're focused, they're ready to go, just as Coach Rolo said. They know exactly what's at stake. This is the biggest game since Coach Rolovich has taken over the program, one of the biggest games in program history. Nationally televised, going to be on ESPN, so the atmosphere here is going to be great. We're looking forward to it. Again, Saturday, 2 p.m. kickoff here in Boise. Check it out on ESPN. We'll send it back to you.
Awesome.
Woohoo! Let's go
Excited
Warriors!
about that. Yeah, so much to do this
Oh
weekend.
my gosh,
so
I
little
know.
time.
But the best part, I think, is just seeing everybody have their Christmas trees on their cars, feeling a little nip in the air.
It's happening. I don't have the Christmas countdown clock, but
We need
it's
to get that. Get in the moment.
coming right around the corner. All right, outside one more time we go. Look at
Beautiful
that beautiful
day.
day out there. Enjoy it. Enjoy your weekend, folks. We'll be back here on Monday. Thanks for watching. This
See
is
ya.
Now.